Okay. Okay, we left off over here, page 187. We differentiated yesterday. You have a bed, and the bed itself has walls, and the walls from the outside are 10 tefachim high. Okay? But if you measure from the bed to the top of the walls, one doesn't have 10 tefachim, and you put schach across the top. It's not valid. Right? Because where does the schach lie? It lies on top of the walls of the bed. Correct? So, and the space from the top of the schach to the base of the bed is less than 10 tefachim. It's not valid. What about if you put the schach on supports outside the bed? And now you bring the bed in there. Well, actually, you bring the bed in first within this frame, and then you put schach across the top. So the schach from the ground is 10 tefachim, and the bed is inserted. So the walls are considered the walls of the sukkah because we say gurasik. But the walls were raising to the schach. That schach has no relevance to the bed. That's the bed that's under the schach. There, even though there's less than 10 tefachim from the schach to the base of the bed, it's considered a valid sukkah. That's what Mechaber differentiates between two cases. Ernie, you hear the difference?
No.
Yeah,
I just have a simple question.
I saw you didn't understand.
If you're just using the bed, four-posted bed.
Not a four-posted bed. Not full-walled bed, three-walled bed. The bed is enclosed with three walls.
My question is again, when you measure the 10 tefachim, do you measure from the mattress or from where the bed is touching on the ground?
No.
That would be a good thing, so
Let's say from the base under the mattress. If you take the mattress out,
box spring?
let's say the box spring. But here we're talking about there's a slat, a horizontal slat attached to the walls, what they used to call a bunkie, right? Like underneath, you put the mattress on top of that. The mattress is considered lying on that, so therefore the mattress you don't see as the surface. It's what's under the mattress. So there, where does the schach lie? It lies on the walls of the bed, right? There are vertical boards which are attached to the bed. So if there's less than 10 tefachim from the base of the bed to the schach, it's not valid. But if the schach is supported independent of the bed. So if you say, where does the schach stand versus the ground? The schach is not being supported by the walls of the bed. It's 10 tefachim above the ground. Now you have a bed, and if you measure from the base of the bed to the schach, you have less than 10 tefachim. It's irrelevant to me. But if you say, what is the distance from the schach to the ground? Because the schach is unrelated to the bed. It's 10 tefachim to the ground. Therefore it's a valid schach. That's how the Mechaber differentiates between whether the schach is on the walls of the bed or the schach exists independent of the bed. Okay? That's the Mechaber.
Those walls were even 5 tefachim high, but the schach was above that.
No, then it's not
Then it
valid.
has to be
The walls have to be 10 tefachim. Without 10 tefachim, it's not a sukkah because you need a mechitza, right? Correct?
Right.
So the walls have to be minimally 10 tefachim.
Why did you use gurasik?
No. If you have 10, then we can say gurasik. You need a mechitza to say gurasik. First, you have to have a mechitza. Once you have a mechitza, we say gurasik. We extend the halachic wall up. But if you, let's say, a wall of 5 tefachim, it's not a mechitza. Gurasik was only said regarding something that's a mechitza. Something qualifies as a mechitza, say gurasik. For instance, we speak about making an Erev in the community. You have a slat, right, to create the tzuras HaPesach, the doorway. You attach to the telephone pole a slat which is 40 inches, right? Narrow slat, and you align it with the wire overhead. So because it's 40 inches, which is 10 tefachim, you extend that slat straight up. So it's as if that slat is actually touching the telephone wire above, right?
So what did you say if you have a wall? Say the wall was 8 tefachim.
It has to be within, but it has to be within.
Within, right?
No. If it's within it's within a physical entity, we close the gap.
Right. What's that?
But here that's called lovud.
I understand.
No, but here
That's 3 tefachim.
less than 3 tefachim.
Less than 3.
No, but here we're talking. It's the open space. If you have two things, lovud closes the gap.
Correct.
But here, there's nothing to close. It's just straight up. You have a wall 8 tefachim, and there's nothing on top of it. Right? So how do I extend it upward? Upward. The schach is 5 feet above the 8 tefachim wall. If I have a 10 tefachim wall, it's irrelevant to me. Once you have a wall, I extend it upward. It's not because of lovwood. That's Gorasik. But let's say the schach would be, I have an 8 tefachim wall, and the schach is within 2 tefachim of that wall. It's valid. Because there, I'm closing the gap. Because there's less than 3 tefachim between the top of the wall and the schach.
So the wall doesn't have to always be 10 tefachim.
No, no.
It could be 9 tefachim.
That's called 10 tefachim. That is called 10 tefachim. Based on the principle of lovwood. Right. But if it's open just to air, right? It's not valid. You have no mechitza. But if I have a mechitza, even if it's open to air, it doesn't make a difference. I extend it upward. You know, in the community, it's a problem. A Tzuras HaPesach, the vertical post has to be aligned with the wire that goes across horizontally. So very often in communities, they'll attach a board to the telephone pole, hopefully with permission of the telephone company, because otherwise it's a problem. Okay? You attach it, and initially it's aligned. You know, over time they bend because of heat, right? It's not exactly straight. So initially, when you put it on, it's aligned. It gets warped. So the top has to be aligned with the overhead wire. What happens over time? It bends a little bit. So even if you say Gorasik, but it bypasses the wire. So it's like the halakha wall is going on the side of the wire. It's not valid. It has to go on top. The wire has to go over the top of the post. So therefore, if you make it wide enough, the slat that you attach to the telephone pole is very wide. So regardless of what degree it's going to be warped, right? It'll always be within a range, and it'll be on top of that. That's what get off when you make an eruv in your backyard. People take an eye ring, right, and put it on top of the post, right, and then you put the wire through that eye ring, right. So therefore, you guarantee it will always be. If you put it just going across the top of the pole, the 2x4, right, over time it can shift, the wind or whatever it is. The wind could happen. But if it goes through that eye ring, it's always secure. That wire is always going to go directly over that post, guaranteed. So you always maintain the Tzuras HaPesach. Definitely. Right, correct. But it doesn't make a difference. You're not using the telephone pole. You're only using the telephone pole to attach the vertical post to it. That's all. To secure it. Okay? But again, the telephone pole, the wires go alongside the telephone pole. Don't go over it. Here, even if it bends, doesn't make a difference. The wires are still up there. So if it's wide enough, doesn't bend that much and it's totally out of range. If it's wide, if the top of the post is wide enough, it's not going to be a problem. Okay, to be continued. Okay.
If you bring the bed out on, you have 4 walls, right? 4 walls. The bed just fits right into those 4 walls. There's nothing else but the bed in there. But they're not intended. So
That's definitely okay.
So no.
And it has 4 walls independent of the bed? Of course it's good. You have a bed in the sukkah. You're sleeping in the sukkah.
Right, but
And there's nothing on top of the bed. So you're sleeping in the sukkah. What's the problem? And let's say the mattress is, if you measure from the mattress to the schach, it's 8 tefachim.
Correct.
Definitely it's kosher. You're sleeping in a sukkah, right?
No, I'm saying, but it doesn't. If the bed fits into those 4 walls exactly, you're measuring from the floor to the schach, not the bed.
Right, correct.
But if the walls were attached to that bed.
Let's say you have a table in the sukkah. Person sleeps on the table. If you measure from the surface of the table to the schach, it's less than 10 tefachim.
Yeah.
It's valid. It's valid.
No, if you do it from the top of the table, but you go from the ground.
That
The
sits.
instrument dimension.
Right, see. Exactly.